Namaskaram. In this modern world, we often believe that everything must be achieved through struggle and effort. But what if I told you there is a dimension where lifetimes of striving can dissolve in a single moment? Today, we explore how devotion can be the key to unlocking the profound energy of Kundalini. You see, in this fast-paced life, people think success comes only through hard work, knowledge through endless study, and spiritual awakening through rigorous meditation. But the mystics of old discovered a secret, a path that transcends effort. They found that what cannot be achieved through lifetimes of struggle can be dissolved in an instant through devotion. Now, when I speak of devotion, do not imagine bowing down in fear or begging for favors from some distant deity. This is not what true devotion means. Devotion, in its essence, is a state where your very self has melted away. It's a dimension where the boundaries between me and you dissolve, leaving only a deep, all-consuming longing. In the language of modern psychology, this phenomenon is often referred to as ego dissolution. A fascinating study published in Frontiers in Psychology in 2017 revealed something remarkable. When individuals engage in deep states of prayer or devotional practices, the brain activity associated with self-focus dramatically decreases. The scientists describe it as a deactivation of the ego network. But in the ancient wisdom of yoga, we simply say, the self has melted. Now, you might wonder, what does this have to do with Kundalini? This is where it gets truly interesting. You see, Kundalini energy is like high voltage electricity coursing through your system. Your ordinary consciousness, your everyday self, is like a small wire. If you try to force this immense energy through that limited conduit, you risk burning out. But here's the beauty of devotion. It transforms you. When devotion takes over, suddenly you are not a wire anymore. You become like water. The energy flows without resistance, without danger. There's scientific evidence for this too. The 2019 study published in the Journal of Religion and Health looked at the effects of devotional chanting. They found that this practice regulates the autonomic nervous system, bringing a beautiful balance to heart rhythms, breathing patterns, and even stress hormones. This state of balance, this harmony, creates the perfect conditions for Kundalini to rise safely and naturally. But why does devotion work so powerfully? The answer lies in its ability to bypass the struggle of control. In traditional meditation, you often find yourself wrestling with your mind, trying to discipline your thoughts. It can feel like an uphill battle. But in devotion, something magical happens. You simply forget yourself. When the me is absent, when that constant chatter of ego fades away, the inner barriers that usually block energy flow are gone. The serpent of Kundalini energy uncoils effortlessly. This is why, in the rich bhakti traditions of India, we find so many great saints who never practiced intense yogic postures or complex meditation techniques. Think of Mirabai, lost in her love for Krishna, or Ramakrishna, consumed by devotion to the Divine Mother, or Chaitanya, dancing in ecstasy through the streets. Through sheer love, through tears of longing, through passionate song, their Kundalini rose like a brilliant flame. Modern science is beginning to catch up with what the mystics have known for millennia. Neuroscientists studying ecstatic states describe surges of dopamine and serotonin, synchronized brainwaves, and even changes in the tone of the vagus nerve. They map the brain, measure hormones, and track physiological changes. The yogis of old would simply smile and say, "Yes, we know. The chakras are flowering." Are these two perspectives at odds? Not at all. They are simply two languages describing the same profound truth. So, my dear ones, if you find the path of effort challenging, if meditation feels like an endless battle, know that there is another doorway, devotion. But understand this clearly, I'm not speaking of devotion as mere belief or empty ritual. I'm talking about devotion as an intensity of love so profound it consumes you entirely. Imagine when you sing with tears streaming down your face, your heart overflowing with emotion. Picture the moment you bow, not out of obligation, but because your entire being longs to express gratitude. Feel what it's like to give yourself without condition, without holding anything back. In these states, Kundalini doesn't need to be forced. It rises as naturally and beautifully as the fragrance from a flower in full bloom. Now, some might hear this and think devotion is a path of weakness. Nothing could be further from the truth. Devotion is the ultimate strength. Why? Because only when you become nothing can everything happen through you. When you empty yourself completely, you become a vessel for the divine. When devotion becomes as natural as your breath, Kundalini becomes your constant companion, your guide on the journey to ultimate reality. Let me share a personal experience to illustrate this. Many years ago, a group of seekers on a pilgrimage to the Himalayas. Among them was a young woman who had been practicing intense meditation techniques for years, always striving, always pushing. But she felt stuck, as if hitting an invisible wall. One evening, as they sat by the Ganges, the air filled with the sound of temple bells and devotional songs, something shifted for her. Tears began to flow, and she let go. She stopped trying to achieve enlightenment and simply surrendered to the moment, to the river, to the vastness of the mountains. In that instant of pure devotion, her entire being lit up. The energy that had been stuck for so long suddenly flowed freely. She described it as a river of light moving through her body. This is the power of devotion. It doesn't require special techniques or years of practice. It requires only your willingness to let go, to love without limit, to dissolve into something greater than yourself. So, as we conclude, I invite you to explore this dimension. If you've been struggling on the spiritual path, if you feel like you're always pushing against resistance, consider opening the door to devotion. Start small. Find something that truly moves your heart. It could be nature, music, a concept of the divine, or the simple miracle of existence itself. Allow yourself to feel deeply, to love without holding back. Remember, devotion isn't about perfection or performance. It's about sincerity. It's about allowing your heart to lead the way. When you cultivate this state, you create the perfect conditions for Kundalini to awaken and rise naturally, without force, without danger. As the sun rises on a new day, bringing light to the world, let devotion be the dawn in your inner sky. Let it illuminate the path ahead, dissolving obstacles, opening doors you never knew existed. When devotion becomes your very essence, Kundalini becomes not just an energy, but a divine dance within you. Namaskaram.